include instruction to bidders, general conditions of contract, special conditions of contract, specifications, drawing, bill of quantities, and forms. For the instruction to bidders, the bidders must submit their technical and financial component sealed envelope to one bid envelope. All interested bidders may acquire a complete set of bidding documents at Procurement Unit Office, Back Building, DPWH, Palawan 2nd D o Narra, Palawan, upon payment of applicable fee for bidding documents pursuant to the latest guidelines issued by the DPPD and the amount stated by Vice Chairman Engineer Ronald Baja on the basic contract data, or it may also be downloaded free of charge from DPWH's website www.dpwh.gov.ph and from Philippine Government Electronic Procurement System or PhilGEP's website www.philgeps.gov.ph, provided that the bidder shall pay the applicable fee for the bidding documents not later than bid submission. For the submission of bids, it may be done manually or electronically online. However, bidders should only select one mode of submission, either manual or electronic. Similar to manual submission, the guidelines for preparation and submission of electronic bid are obtained in the bidding documents. Bids must be received by the Back Secretariat through the DPWH Building, 2nd floor, back room, Narra, Palawan for manual submission, or at electronic bids, Palawan 2 at dpwh.gov.ph for electronic submission. All bids must be accompanied by bid security in any of the applicable acceptable forms and in the amount stated in ITV Clause 16. For bid submission, the contractor's representative shall submit a copy of contractor's registration certificate or CRC or special power of attorney STA together with government-issued ID. Bid opening shall be on November 14, 2023, 10 a.m. at DPWH Building, 2nd floor, back room, Narra, Palawan. Bid will be opened in the presence of bidders' representatives who choose to attend the activity. Late bids shall not be accepted. For the general conditions of contract or the GCC, the purpose is to provide standard terms and provisions of the contract applicable in all contracts in general without detailed information and data specific to the contract at hand. The GCC defines the contractual requirements and obligations of both the procuring entity and the contractor at hand. For the obligation of the procuring entity, the office will provide you with the plans, inspections, and tests. For the contractor's obligation, it is to carry out works per contract in accordance with the plans and specification within contract duration. And the contractor shall employ the paid personnel indicating their designation in accordance with ITB Clause 10.3 and specified in the PDS to carry out the supervision of works. The procuring entity will approve any proposed replacement of paid personnel only if the relevant qualifications and abilities are equal to or better than those of the personnel listed in the schedule. Posting of the performance security. This shall guarantee the contractor's performance of its contract obligations up to the certificate of acceptance after the defects liability period and upon submission of the required warranty security if acceptable. The performance security shall also guarantee the recoupment of any advance payment. It must be posted in favor of the procuring entity and shall be forfeited in the latter's favor if it is established that the winning bidder is in default in any of its obligations under the contract. The GCC shall remain unchanged kaya mayroon tayong Special Conditions of Contract or the SCC. The purpose is to provide contract-specific information in relation to the corresponding clauses in the general conditions of the contract. The SCC shall specify contractual requirements linked to the special circumstances of the procuring entity and works procured. Some contents of the SCC are the intended completion start date, required descriptions of work, type of structures, and warranty period, the amount and schedule of advance payment. For the contractor's key personnel equipment requirements, these are stated in the bid data sheet. For the specifications shall reflect necessary minimum requirements. It shall promote the broadest possible competition while assuring structural integrity and performance of the infrastructure. For DPWH contracts, DPWH standard specifications for public works and highways or Maritime Blue Book, it shall be the basis standards to be met by the materials and works to be performed. Mayroon tayong itong dalawa, Volume 2 for highways and bridges, and Volume 3 for buildings, flood control, and drainage. Standard pay items in the PCNA is used. Modifications in DPWH standard specification shall be the special provisions of the contract at hand. For the drawings, ito yung ating plano. It varies with the type and nature of contract and of works involved. It represents in accordance with accepted national and international standards and practices for infrastructure contracts based on detailed engineering, which form part of the design outputs. It consists of layouts, plans, profiles, elevations, sections, site location, and perspective in sufficient detail and scale. This is complemented by specifications to enable the bidder or the contractor to gain clear, accurate presentation of required works. It is also a reference or guide in the implementation of the project. For the bill of quantities, the purpose is to provide sufficient information on the quantities of work to be performed under contract at hand to enable the bidder to prepare bids efficiently and accurately. Yung BOQ po natin ay may 6 columns. Columns 1 to 4 is to be filled up by the procuring entity, and columns 5 to 6 to be filled up by the bidder. The bidder shall not change the entries under pay item, which is in column 1, description in column 2, unit in column 3, and quantity in column 4, which are set by the procuring entity for each item in the BOQ. The bidder shall indicate its unit bid price in words and in figures in column 5 and its total bid price in column 6. Kailangan po magpatugma ang inyong words and in figures. The TWG will check your submitted BOQ and posted BOQ. Any discrepancy in your submitted BOQ is modification of bidding documents and it is patently insufficient. Lagi rin po tayo mag-update ng postings ng PhilJobs, baka po mayroong bid bulletin o may pagbabago dito sa inyong BOQ. For the forms, lahat ng ating forms ay standard and updated at lahat ng ating requirements sa bidding documents ay nakapost sa PhilJobs and DPWH's website na pwede niyo po i-download for free. That's all, Mr. Chairman, for the requirements of bidding documents.
Thank you, Madam Engineer Cayo, for the information. May we request Madam Maria to please discuss the documents to be submitted by the bidders.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So, here are the documents to be submitted by the bidders. For technical component envelope, we have the Class A documents and, if applicable, Class B documents. So, under Class A documents, mayroon pa rin po tayong 3 types of documents to be submitted. The legal documents, technical documents, and the financial documents. So, what are the documents under legal? Number 1, valid PhilJobs registration certificate, platinum membership, complete in 3 pages. Number 2, registration certificate from Securities and Exchange Commission, Department of Trade and Industry, DTI for sole proprietorship or Cooperative Development Authority, CDA for cooperatives or its equivalent document. Para po sa mga corporation, if possible po dapat i-attach din natin ang inyong general information sheet. Number 3, mayors or business permit issued by the city or municipality where the principal place of business of the prospective bidder is located, or the equivalent document for exclusive economic zones or areas. And number 4, tax clearance per Executive Order number 398, series of 2005, as finally reviewed and approved by the Bureau of Internal Revenue. So for technical documents, ito naman po ang mga dapat na i-submit. Number 1, statement of the prospective bidder of all its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. Number 2, statement of the bidder's single largest completed contract, SLCC, similar to the contract to be bid, except under conditions provided under the rules. Number 3, Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board or pickup license or special pickup license in case of joint ventures and registration for the type and cost of the contract to be bid. Number 4, original copy of bid security, and if in the form of a surety bond, submit also a certification issued by the Insurance Commission, or original copy of notarized bid securing declaration. Number 5, project requirements, which shall include the following: organizational chart for the contract to be bid, list of contractors' key personnel such as project manager, project engineers, materials engineers, and foremen to be assigned to the contract to be bid with their complete qualification and experience data, and list of contractors' major equipment units which are all leased and or under purchase agreements supported by proof of ownership or certification of availability of equipment from the equipment lessor or vendor for the duration of the project as the case may be. Also, list of materials testing equipment apparatus or certification signed by the head of technical working group as proof po ng inyong material testing apparatus ay complete and na-inspect na po ng technical working group. And number 6, original duly signed omnibus zone statement, and if applicable, original notarized secretary's certificate in case of a corporation, partnership, or cooperative, or original special power of attorney of all members of the joint venture, giving full power and authority to its officer to sign the omnibus zone statement and do acts to represent the bidder. For financial documents, number 1, the prospective bidder's audited financial statements showing, among others, the prospective bidder's total and current assets and liabilities, stamped, received by the BIR or its duly accredited and authorized institutions for the preceding calendar year, which should not be earlier than 2 years from the date of bid submission. And number 2, the prospective bidder's computation of net financial contracting capacity, NFCC. For Class B documents, ito po ay, if applicable, duly signed joint venture agreement in accordance with Republic Act number 4566 and its implementing rules and regulation in case the joint venture is already in existence, or duly notarized statements from all the potential joint venture partners stating that they will enter into and abide by the provisions of the joint venture agreement in the instance that the bid is successful. So para po sa ating financial component envelope, here are the documents to be submitted. Number 1, original of duly signed and accomplished financial bid form. Number 2, original of duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantity. Number 3, duly accomplished detailed estimates form, including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rental used in coming up with a bid. And number 4, cash flow by quarter. So, paalala lang po sa lahat ng mga bidders na dapat po ang ating mga documents to be submitted ay fill out completely in clear copies, readable, paginated, and duly signed by the bidder. Any missing, incomplete, or patently insufficient document in the above-mentioned checklist is a ground for outright rejection of the bid. So that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Ayayo, for the clear information and well-defined explanation. May we request Back Member Engineer Julius Kakacha to please discuss further the criteria and procedure for eligibility check, preliminary examination of bids, detailed evaluation of bids, post-qualification, and award.
Thank you, Chairman, and good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
This is the criteria and procedures for examination and evaluation of bids. First is the eligibility check. Second is the preliminary examination of bids. Third is the detailed evaluation of bids, post-qualification, and last is the award. First is the eligibility check. This is a simultaneous processing of electronic eligibility and manual checking of submitted legal, technical, and financial documents. In manual checking, it is a non-discretionary pass or fail or presence and absence of required documents. Any missing or expired documents means ineligible. The Bids and Award Committee will check manually the submitted legal and financial documents such as the PhilJeb Certificate of Registration, SEC of DTI or CDA registration, Mayor's and Business Permit, and Tax Clearance Certificate per Executive Order Number 398, Series of 2005. The financial documents such as the audited financial statement and computation of financial contracting capacity or the NFCC. Reminder po ulit sa ating mga bidders that the PhilJeb's registration should be valid and platinum membership, complete in 3 pages, and all documents must be updated. Missing or expired documents means failed or ineligible in manual eligibility. Second is the electronic checking of eligibility. The authorized administrator or user will process the electronic eligibility of the bidders using the system provided for CWA or the Civil Works application. This is a database of contractors' legal, financial, and technical information. Thus, all bona fide contractors who wish to do business with the department are encouraged to enroll to the registry. The BAC will receive a copy of the electronic eligibility showing results of pass or fail and the legal, financial, and technical aspects. Failed results to any aspect means ineligible and electronic eligibility. The second criteria is the preliminary examination of bids. This is the opening of the first and second envelope. First is the first envelope, the technical documents. The bank shall open the first envelope to determine the bidder's compliance for eligibility, technical and financial documents required as prescribed in IRR 9184 against the checklist to ascertain that they are present using the non-discretionary criterion as stated in the instruction to bidders. If a bidder submitted the required documents, it shall be rated passed for that particular requirement. Bids that fail to include any requirement or are incomplete or patently insufficient shall be rated as failed. Any missing document means failed or automatically disqualified. Reminder po ulit doon po sa ating mga bidders na lahat po ng requirements ay dapat po ay pinifill up natin at ina-attach sa ating proposal. The statement of the prospective bidder of all ongoing government and private contracts, including awarded contract but not yet started, should be declared and filled up in the prescribed format. Certification of compliance of laboratory equipments issued by the head of the technical working group must be present. In case of new contractors, proof of ownership or purchase must be attached. The laboratory equipments must be company-owned, neither rented or leased. The omnibus statement or the OSS must be complete in 10 statements. Failure to comply with these requirements should also result to the outright disqualification of your bid proposal. Next is the second envelope, which is the financial documents. Same as with the first envelope, non-discretionary pass or fail criteria or presence and absence of documents. Any missing documents means fail, if present means passed. After determining compliance in the first envelope and rated passed, the bank shall open the second envelope. For bidders whose first envelopes were rated fail, their second envelope will not be opened. It will be returned to the bidder or any authorized representative unopened. In case of any of the requirements in second envelope is missing, incomplete or patently insufficient, and or if the submitted total bid price exceeds the ABC, shall be rated fail. The ABC shall be the upper limit or ceiling for the prices. Only bids that contain all bid requirements of both components shall be rated passed. The above item is in the opening and preliminary stage. The third criteria is the detailed evaluation of bids of the technical working group. The detailed evaluation of the bid that was opened, read, and rated pass. The purpose is to determine the lowest calculated bid. This is also to establish correct calculated prices of bids, ranking calculated total bid from lowest to highest. The completeness of bid will be checked. All blanks in bid form must be properly filled up. The bank TWG will check all required items in bidding documents. That includes the following: the unit price or cost of item ng ating BOQ ng column 5 and 6. Placing no price is considered as non-responsive, while specifying is zero or dash means it is offered for free and it is responsive. Second is the minor arithmetical correction in case of discrepancies between the bid price versus the bid price in words. The bid price in words will prevail. the total price per item versus the unit price per item quantity. Unit price per item quantity will prevail. Stated total price versus the total sum of prices of component items. The total sum of prices will prevail. Unit cost in the detailed estimate versus the unit cost in the BOQ. Unit cost in the BOQ will prevail. The fourth criteria is the cost qualification of the technical working group. This is to determine whether the bidder with the lowest calculated bid complies with and is responsive to all requirements and conditions of eligibility and the bidding of the contract to be declared the lowest calculated responsive bid. This includes the verification and validation of the bidder's stated competence and experience, including the single largest completed contract or the SLCC similar to the contract being procured. Verification of competence and experience of the bidder's key personnel to be assigned to the contract as against the minimum requirements under the bid data sheet. If proposed key personnel is an employee of the bidder and working on another project at the same time, the bidder shall submit a certification that the personnel will be pulled out from the ongoing project once the bidder is awarded to the contract. He or she will be replaced with another person with equal or better qualifications as certified by the head of the implementing office pursuant to Department Order Number 9, Series of 2012. The proposed key personnel and replacement must be named in the bidding document. Verification of availability and commitment and/or inspection and testing for the required capacities and operating conditions of major equipments to be owned, leased, and then purchased by the bidder for use in the contract under bidding. The technical working group will conduct verification to all government and private offices to validate the performance of the bidder of each all ongoing and awarded projects with the lowest calculated bid. If any of these contracts shows a reported negative slippage of at least 15% in single contract or a reported negative slippage of at least 10% in two or more contracts, failure of the contractor to commence repair works on ongoing contracts within 7 days and to complete them within 30 days after receipt of the procuring entity's notice of defects and deficiencies. Failure of the contractor to commence repair works on contracts with pending certificate of acceptance within 30 days and to complete the works within 90 days after receipt of the procuring entity's notice of defects and failures. Substandard quality works as per contract specifications. Unsatisfactory performance of the contractor's obligations as per contract terms and conditions at the time of inspection. Liquidated damages currently imposed on the contract. And the results of the contractor's performance evaluation system or the CPES should also be considered by the concerned BAC in determining the responsiveness of the contractor's bid before any award of the contract can take place as stated in item 12.5 Annex E of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. If the BAC determines that the bidder with the lowest calculated bid, higher rated bid, passes all the criteria for post-qualification, it shall be declared the said bid as the lowest calculated responsive bid. Last is the award. The BAC shall then recommend to the head of the procuring entity the awarding of contract to the bidder with the lowest calculated and responsive bid. The hope shall approve or disapprove the recommendations of the BAC within a period of not exceeding 7 calendar days from the termination and declaration of the BAC of the lowest calculated and responsive bid. Failure of bidding is recommended only if there is no bids received, all prospective bidders are declared ineligible, all bids fail to comply with all the bid requirement or fail post-qualification, or the bidder with the lowest calculated responsive bid refuses without justifiable cause. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Engineer Caracha. Well spoken, well done. Since no bidder at the back room for this procurement activity, the pre-bid conference, we will now proceed on the next agenda. For the summary of proceedings, the chairman will convene the Bids and Awards Committee members to conduct the bid opening for the following activities. The first activity is the preliminary examination of the technical component, followed by the eligibility checking. This shall be done electronically using the DPWC Rewards application, CWA. Then the next activity is the preliminary examination of financial component. And finally, the announcement of the results by reading the abstract of bids. Engineer Portales, do we have supplemental bid bulletins issued?
Hindi ko kasi maalala kung merong bid bulletin itong mga diniscuss natin na to. Pero merong natanggap ako mga bid bulletin. Hindi ko lang alam kung yun ay intended dito. So, pinost na namin yun. Pakitingin na lang dun sa mga bidders natin. Pakitingnan na lang dun sa PhilJeps or sa DPW's website. Huwag kayong mag-aatubiling tingnan. Kasi hindi ko matandaan kung ito yun. Marami kasing bid bulletin na dumaan sa akin. Hindi ko na matandaan kung ito yun. So, pakitingnan na lang po para hindi tayo maligaw sa kung inyong kakalimutan. Kasi baka mamaya hindi nyo makita yun, magkakaroon tayo ng problema sa yun lang po.
Okay. Noted.